Happy Friday, my friends. TGIF. Woo! I tell you what, I think the last 3 weeks, every time it's Friday, I say the same thing. I didn't think we were going to make it. But you guys are already coming in loud and proud. Look at our girl, I see you. I stand with Brandy and Tyler. Hello, Phil. Yaya's World, who is also a new member. Look at all the blue hearts, monkeys, prayers. It's been rough, my friends. It has been rough. There's our girl, Purple Phoenix. How are you, Purple? Kaleidohope. Girlfriend, where you been? Or have I just missed you in chat? I've been getting a lot of comments. People saying, can you see me? Can you see me? Can you see me? I think people are putting comments in and then not looking because I come in early and say hi to everybody, or I try to. And today I was getting a lot of, the last few days, can you see me? Am I hidden? And I'm like, no, I see you. So, oh boy. Before we get to it, today is our very good friend Kiki's birthday. Let's take a minute and wish our friend Kiki a very, very happy birthday, because she deserves it. She is an amazing person. And many more to you, Kiki. Thank you for being here and just being such an awesome person. Katerina Rostova, to what do we owe the privilege? Normally I get Facebook messages from you saying, I'm catching up. Are you off work today, Katerina? So glad you're here. So glad everyone is here, because we have a lot to unpack, do we not? First off, I see that our weather is going to warm up. Thank goodness. I love to complain about the weather. This is a forecast that was sent to me. Now, this is out of Wichita. Looks like today in Wichita is going to be 46. Then they're going to warm up into the 50s and 60s. Wichita is not that far from me, a couple hours. So we're going to have about the same forecast. Our girl CR, my favorite Avon lady, she's in that area. So good for her, because I am tired of that dingy ass snow. And I love how they put Jason Kelsey in the weather report. That really brings it home. I also put this on the Facebook page because it just cracked me up. If you guys aren't on the Facebook page or the Facebook group, go over there and give it a like. Crime Lines and Lies. This guy said, according to KMBC 9 in Kansas City, the Kansas City Chiefs will play the Olathe Northwest Ravens this Sunday. That's a high school team. Somebody wasn't paying attention to their clip art. Safe to say, even on their worst day, the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be able to beat the Olathe, Kansas football team. Loving all the football mistakes, memes. I'm going to rub this one in our friend Ryan's face for the longest time. She's a huge Lions fan. Golf and the Lions pulling up to the NFC Championship game. Oh, I'm loving these way too much. And one of my favorite Chiefs fans is backstage. If you all would give a big, huge howdy to each other and our very special guest today, our friend Kat. Woo!
Go Chiefs!
Listen to her in the Queen's English. Go Chiefs! Now, I used to say, somebody sends you Chiefs stuff all the way over across the pond. Would you consider yourself to be the only Chiefs fan in the London area?
I tell you what, I'm definitely the biggest Chiefs fan for real.
Okay.
In the UK, probably. Go Chiefs.
Because you've got the sunglasses. We're working on getting you some swag. Oh, yeah. You're
I love
representing.
it. I'm getting the merch. It's like awesome. I love the Chiefs. Go Chiefs. Woohoo!
I will never forget when you got your earpods, the Kansas City Chiefs earpods, and you left me a message in the Queen's English, and you said, "This American bloke is talking to me."
He says, device connected.
Oh, wow. That is something else.
It's amazing. It's like this American man just lives in my earpods. It's amazing.
And I didn't even think about that. I guess it would kind of raise my eyebrow if I got some earpods and somebody in the Queen's English said device connected. I'd be like, now hang on. These said made in America.
It would be more like device connected. That's how it would be.
Exactly. We needed a Southern accent, though, because when you played it for me, I'm like, that don't sound like me. I have got to fix your volume. Hold on.
Okay, is there anything I can do?
It's just a little low.
Okay.
All right, say something, Kat.
Hi, am I on the equalizer now? You sliding buttons up and down to adjust my volume?
Well, I'm not allowed to touch controls as per you.
Don't touch the buttons, Brooks.
So
Step
you may
away from the buttons.
You may have to turn on your camera and do sign language. Can
No.
you guys hear Kat better? It's super loud on my end now in the Queen's English, so I hope you're happy.
Oh, Jill says she can't hear me. I'm going to look at my settings. I don't know why. You could hear me before we went low, right? Before we went live.
Hang on.
Just automatically adjust mic volume.
Okay, try it now. She just may have to lean into her microphone. It'll be okay. Retro said I can hear her fine. Kamari says we can hear her. So Jesse said you hear her great. Are you there, Kat? She might be messing with her microphone. Oh, Kat. Well, see, now we can't hear you at all. This is why I'm not allowed to touch controls. As per Kat and pretty much everybody in Discord. DT Driver said, you have sounded fine the whole time on my end. Uh-oh. Now we have a problem in here. Ryan said, Kat, I'll have to start sending you some Lions gear.
Woohoo! No, I don't want Lions gear.
She won't know what to wear every day.
Can you guys hear me or not?
Yep, I can hear you perfectly. And a lot of people
can hear me now.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So we're good. We're good. So now what do you make out of all of this that's been going on the last few weeks?
Oh, it's been a lot. I have to say, it's been a real lot. But I think we've got so much more information now, whether everyone realizes it or not. Personally, I feel like I probably have a much better picture of June 27th than I had this whole time. And it's probably really not a nice picture, so I don't really want to go into a lot of details about it. But as well,
it's July. We don't want to confuse anybody.
July, sorry, that's my brain working under time. July 27th, sorry.
Well, I mean, I think he sewed it up perfectly for us.
Yeah, me too.
I couldn't be happier. Even, I mean, all the draggings I've been taken through and heard some horrible things about my friends. I couldn't be happier with the job he's done. Let's have a round of applause for Stacy. Way to go. Way to go. Way to go, Stacy. Thank you. I mean, you could have helped, but you did so much more.
Mm,
For one, we do know that you've lied to the police, but not about Michael in the backyard. That's for sure. Um, you admit to seeing a kid with a toy who instantly could be a boy or a girl when you realize you stepped in it. But very interesting when you say he was playing, he would indicate boy, in the neighbor's yard. So would that not imply that he knows what house the child belongs to? How does he know the yard he's playing in isn't his home?
exactly. He really thinks he's some kind of genius, this guy, even though he says he's got a really low IQ. I think he really truly believes that he's made up something that's going to completely, make him look completely innocent. But as far as I'm concerned, all he's done is dropped him and his little friends right back in the middle of the whole thing.
Right smack dab in the middle.
Yeah.
Because he didn't just say it once, he said it several times. Now,
Right.
don't forget, Brandon, and I don't know what Brandon was driving, because remember, his car was at his mama's house with the bad spark plugs.
Mm-hmm.
It is confirmed he was a delivery driver for Domino's Pizza in Fruitland.
Mm-hmm.
Guess who orders Domino's Pizza about once a week? That would be the Vaughn family.
Yep. Yeah. I don't know how much of it, how much of what I think I should actually say. And that, the last thing I want to do is make anything worse for Brandy and Tyler. Not that, that probably could seem possible, but a lot of the puzzle pieces that didn't seem to fit before now fit almost too perfectly. And I think that what Stacey's done is try to muddy the waters, but actually provided a lot of clarity. And it really isn't good. He has, like you say, it's helped, but he's really not done himself any favors. And I'm kind of glad because, to be honest, we really don't need any of those lot doing themselves any favors because it doesn't help Monkey.
As I've said to Stacy, this is America, and you have a First Amendment right, freedom of speech, to
Yeah.
talk. So keep
Mm-hmm.
talking.
Keep talking.
There are people with a much higher pay grade than me that already know the truth, and they can sift through everything you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, you want to get to the comments from the last show with me?
I definitely do. I love the comments. My favorite.
I love the video. I love the Kansas City Chiefs fan that made it.
Woohoo! Go
All right. From our friend Direct Current said, breaks my heart to see Michael Monkey Vaughn so alive and so happy in his family's house with his parents. What a shame for such evil people to take such an innocent child out of pure greediness,
mm-hmm.
lack of empathy for a child just disregarded like nothing.
Right.
This child, Michael, taken too early, but he will never be forgotten. Much love to Brandy, Tyler, and family. So very sad the heartache for the family to go through.
Yeah.
Day in and day out is unfathomable.
Mm-hmm.
Such a heartfelt comment, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Been a real sentiment that I think a lot of us relate to as well.
And as Direct Current mentioned, it's so heartbreaking to see the happiness in their home and how happy Michael is with his mom and his dad and playing in his backyard, and he has friends in the neighborhood. And here's just, a small snippet of it.
Okay, listen, Mama, don't touch nothing else with that hand. You can only touch with this hand, okay? Okay. That's one. You touch touch the pan. Can you feel how hot that is? Stay back in the stove.
It doesn't feel hot.
It don't feel hot. You know? Wait, stay back, stay back.
Real homemade cookies. We made real
We made real homemade cookies.
Oh.
Don't touch with the other hand.
Aww. Oh, I could grab one.
No, we got. You gotta let them rest.
Oh, I gotta let the cookies rest.
Yeah, because it's hot.
I'm gonna put 2 of those on, so
Okay.
keep it 2 of
Put your
those
glove
on.
on.
Okay.
Got the glove? And you want me to carry it and we'll put them on the cooling pan
Yeah, cooling pan. What's a cooling pan?
or the cooling rack? Yeah, get down. Okay,
Now go.
got your glove?
Can you taste that?
No, don't touch the cookies. We touch the pan.
Oh.
Put the glove on. Don't touch anything else. Don't. No. There you go. All right. Look like it's you. Okay, we'll set it up here. Okay. We'll take our glove off and let that cool for a few minutes. Okay.
No, I gotta keep my glove on so I can grab the homemade cookie. Okay.
Okay.
I need the other one on too.
You got 2 gloves. You tell Dada, look, I made real cookies.
I love that video. Brooks, you're muted. Oh, okay. Hello.
right. Real quick, moderators, I think in the last few weeks, it's pretty much all been sewn together. The family is, as the comment from Direct Current said, the family is going through unfathomable pain, anxiety. And the last few weeks, it has way escalated. So if you see disrespect in here to Brandy, Tyler, their family, I understand that Tyler's dad has been brought into things. He spoils those kids.
Yeah.
Please just see him out the door. Please. It's just ridiculous at this point. I mean, I'm all about free speech, asking questions, having an opinion, but, well, let me get to this comment. Chris Matheson said, I have always had a particular fondness for your unquestionable word choice of the day. Evidence.
Yeah.
Evidence. Here is just one article where they spoke about evidence. Fruitland police say they have recovered several pieces of evidence and are testing for the DNA evidence. Police said they have sent the evidence to a private DNA lab and the results could take some time. Safe to say they're back now. That's why they said that the evidence from the house was very productive. In November, not this past November, the one before, investigators dug up the backyard of a home in Fruitland and arrested Sarah Wandra for failure to report the death of Michael Vaughn. After searching the backyard and the home, police said they found no human remains, but believe Michael was possibly killed, buried, and later relocated. Hence why when authorities went to Stacy and they gave him a conditional plea agreement, which was 15 and 7, spend 15, 7 is probation, to tell them. He told them the backyard. Well, they found evidence that Michael had at one time been in the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Officers are also following up on new information received as a result of their last press conference, where Fruitland police identified 3 other people who lived at the home during the time of Michael's disappearance. I bet their phone was lighting up like a brand new tan bed. Maybe we should play a game here. How many times in these interviews and articles do we see the word evidence? Not in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Chief Huff didn't come out and make a press conference where he said, it's my opinion, this, and this. He said, we have evidence. And it's almost like sometimes you just want people to go use a dictionary or something and find out what these words actually mean before they start off with their opinions and frowsy-faced stupidness. Go
Exactly.
find out what the word evidence means and then come back and we'll talk. But, you know, when your IQ or your intelligence, understanding, comprehension level is as low as a child in a kindergarten, don't be talking about stuff that you don't understand. They don't just name 4 people as suspects in a crime without evidence. That would be illegal. That would be something they would face huge lawsuits for, because they randomly picked 4 people's name out of the sky and put their faces up on national news as suspects in the disappearance of a child, right? Evidence is what they base it on, not opinion.
Well, and you just answered my next question. I was going to ask, so why did they pick those 4 people out
Right.
of the entire community and neighborhood? Why those 4? They didn't try to pinch any of the neighbors, the parents. If they're just
Yeah.
looking to hang it on someone, they go back to just, to get it out of their way, off their desk. We know they're way more passionate about Michael's case than that. Evidence, the evidence.
If they were looking for an easy-ish conviction, that they could just say, oh, well, it must have been those people because, they've done it before. The next door neighbours have got form of Stacy and Sarah. The neighbours next door have got previous. But they didn't, did they? They didn't go straight to their house and be like, well, because you've done it before, it must be you. They had to have evidence that the 4 people that they actually put their pictures up were involved and had first-hand knowledge of what happened to Monkey. First-hand knowledge.
What a great point. If you're just looking to hang someone with it, what would be better than Carson and Dorothy Starkey?
Right.
They have a record already.
Yep. If they just wanted to pick people's names out of the air without any evidence, they would have chosen the people with previous convictions.
Or what about Caesar Garudo? He had been around. He's in jail now. Wouldn't he have been an easy one? If you're just looking to pin it on someone, you can't fabricate evidence.
Exactly. And also, you can't, like, I think it was someone said it on another show at some point, dogs don't have opinions. You can't say that the dogs did not provide evidence because they don't have an opinion. Dogs didn't go around, find evidence, and then, or like, pretend to sniff something, and all of them indicated on the same spot because that was their opinion that it would have been there.
And I love that. I have to remember who left that comment, because it's dogs don't have opinions, they have the truth. And all of these certified canines, all alerted. All
Every single one of them. Yeah.
Ridiculous. Evidence. Stephanie Weber said Stacy basically told the whole story. He buried himself with multiple lives.
Absolutely.
The timestamps came out and placed him right where Michael was sighted at the time he went missing, where Stacy saw a child, in quotes. Come on. Then the trip to Brandon's mom's house with useless laundry and a duffel bag not big enough to keep a child in. He painted a pretty clear picture without meaning to. Now, I'm going to touch on the laundry real quick.
Okay, before you do that, can I just say that I just think that is the best comment, because it completely coincides with everything that I was thinking and saying during this whole last 2 weeks. He just told the whole story. He just told the whole story. All you have to do is look at the evidence that we know about, just the evidence we know about, and you can put this whole picture together now.
You're exactly right.
Carry on. You wanted to say about the laundry and the duffel bag and stuff.
No. I was following you. You're knocking it out of the park, girlfriend. I asked Stacy, I said, well, how many times before July 27th did Brandon go to his mother's house to do laundry? He said he didn't, because he said Sarah did the laundry for everyone in the house. Now, he's already complained that they were owed so much money by Brandon. Brandon was sleeping with Sarah. Sarah's also washing his dirty drawers.
Mm-hmm.
So he's never gone an hour away to do laundry before
Mm-hmm.
because Sarah does it. But that night, decided to do a load of laundry and leave it in the washer
Mm-hmm.
and tow the car back with the bad spark plugs that night. Now, would you do a favor like that for someone if you're that pissed that you've been?
Hell no.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, to be fair, I don't even know if I'd do that for someone if I wasn't that pissed. But you know,
No.
I possibly might if they were like completely desperate and completely in need or something. But that this, in my opinion, was not about laundry. It wasn't about towing a car. It wasn't about going back to Brandon's mum's house to get water halfway through the day. This was all part of a bigger picture and a bigger narrative that they've created, which actually, when you see that whole picture together, tells the whole story, in my opinion.
Especially when he knew his mom was in Arizona and that
Mm-hmm.
he's not supposed to be at her house when she's not
Mhm.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he throws the laundry into the washer. Stacy confirmed that he changed clothes. Then they tow the car back to Fruitland.
Yeah. And then they go back the next day to get the laundry out of the washer. Laundry that they could have washed and dried at Stacy and Sarah's house, but you know, it's part of it's part of the real true story of what actually happened. They're just using these as excuses to fill in gaps where other things happened, but they had to give a legitimate reason. Like, we drove back to my mum's house to get water halfway through the day when they were at a shop that sold water, right? But they have to drive all of that way to get water. That wasn't about getting water.
Mm-mm.
It wasn't to get water. They
And
went to the house, but they sure as shit didn't go there to get water. And as far as I'm concerned, they did not choose that evening. They didn't just all sit there and go, oh, do you know what? Let's go all the way to Kuna to pick up this car with some broken spark plugs and bring it back to the neighbourhood. That's not the conversation they had. That's what they did, but that's not the motivation for why they did it.
No, and you have a theory on that. And we talked a lot this morning, and it gave me chills because what you said is not proven. It's not facts, but it makes perfect sense to me. And hey, we've been wrong before, and we're okay saying, well, I screwed that up.
Totally happy to say that I could be wrong with it all, but it's just what I've surmised, I guess, through what's come out over the last couple of weeks.
Because little by little things are coming out.
Right.
So they went into he changed clothes. Well, why? You're towing a car. He's going to get dirty anyway, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And so they get back towing this hunk of junk. And I'm going to say it's probably around 11 o'clock because if they have the timestamp of 9:56 on Highway 16, they're towing a car. We Googled it a couple of days ago. The distance from Eagle, Idaho to Fruitland, it's not just 15 minutes down the road.
Mm-hmm.
It's much further. So they probably got back into the neighborhood about 10:30, 11 o'clock. So wouldn't you just unhook the car and start working on your project or whatever? But Sarah and Brandon immediately, and mind you, Brandon has changed clothes.
Uh-huh.
Brandon does not have on the same clothes he had on throughout the day.
Mm-hmm.
And they take off on foot to look for Michael. Now, let me ask you this. Why do you think Brandon lied about using Carson's truck? Because that did not happen. Is it because he's an RSO and he wanted to throw his name in there?
Maybe. I mean, that would have been, like we were saying earlier, deflection technique. Don't look at me, look at him. He's the one with previous, not me.
And I think that was a workup between Brandon and Sarah because Sarah told the police when they came to pay her a friendly visit on that Friday night that Michael was in the neighbor's yard. Well, they probed that yard, they droned it, they ran dogs through it. They didn't hit on anything. But guess where they did hit? Their backyard.
Exactly. It's like deflection, isn't it? it's like, oh no, don't look at us. We don't have anything to do with this. But our next door neighbours, we know that they've been convicted in the past and they're on the register and all of that kind of stuff. Go look in their yards. They're much more likely to have done it. We're banking on the fact that fingers would have been pointed elsewhere. I don't think they were expecting to come under the microscope as suspects. But then, from everything that Stacy and Brandon have said, just even those two, I don't think they've got the brains they were born with. Because between the two of them, they're told what happened on that day, and none of them could have figured out, like, if they'd even used any of their brains, that they would have come under suspicion. And I think they came under suspicion immediately. I think it was like day 2 of Monkey being missing that these 4 came under suspicion, personally, because they would have seen them leaving the neighborhood on that camera in that vehicle at the time that Monkey was abducted, right?
100%. 100%. And I want to know about the arguments going on in the house. Stacy doesn't remember any arguments, but he has said how furious he was with Brandon. Brandon recalls a huge argument with Adrien. He says it was the night before. I'm going to assume that the argument was on the 28th. Because for some reason on the 28th, with all the activity they had going on the 27th, none of the 4 strike me as the early bird gets the worm type of people. Sometimes
Mhm.
they would sleep till 11 o'clock, noon, 1. They have nothing going on. Of course, they were up bright and early on the 27th because we had plans in motion, in my opinion.
Mhm. Yeah.
On the 28th, Adrien gets dropped off, according to Stacy, at the Red Wing house by his girlfriend. Brandon and Sarah go back to Kuna because,
Mhm.
gas is free.
Yeah, exactly.
And so they go back to Kuna just to take the clothes out of the washer and put them in the dryer.
Yeah.
Now let's make sense of this. If Brandon just really needed to wash his dirty clothes, they could have thrown them in the washer, gone to do the towing, came back,
Mhm.
and thrown them in the dryer and been done with them.
Yeah, they could have put them in the washer, gone with the empty duffel bag, to get the car, and at the same time they were picking up the car, they could have picked up Brandon a new set of clothes and brought them home. If they had to do that so desperately, that's what they could have done. But no, what they did was made this whole set up alibi reason as to why they were going to get a car and put washing in a washing machine 40 minutes away, and then come back and be back in the neighborhood later that night. Yeah, to me, it stinks of BS. Because if you take their words that they used out and replace them with other words, for example, Adrien, this is my opinion, Adrien wasn't there that night, according to Stacy. Monkey's scent was discovered or found by the scent dogs in Brandon's mum's house. Where did they go when they left Fruitland? They went to Brandon's mum's house, right? This is where they picked up the car. This is where they did the laundry, whatever. So replace the car and the laundry reason. Where's Adrien? Adrien didn't come. It wasn't there at their house that night, but they'd gone back earlier in the day to get water from Brandon's mum's house. Did they take Adrien to Brandon's mum's house at that point? And instead of going there for water, they were going there to drop Adrien off.
That's what I'm thinking too. Vet girl said, wouldn't the dogs hit on drains from the washer? Well, that's what I think Tina was alluding to when she kind of in her weird little trying to make light of it.
Mm.
When she said, "Oh, but the dogs did let me know I have a leaky toilet." No, dogs don't hit on a leaky
Right.
toilet. They hit on something else. Now,
Right.
I don't know if this is true, but I was told that her washer and dryer are in the bathroom. So for her to say they hit on the leaky toilet, sounds to me like they hit on the washer.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the family, Insanity Mom. So glad you're here. So glad you're here. And it's no secret that there was no love lost between Adrien and Stacy. Now, according to Stacy, when he went to jail, he thought he still had friends on the outside, Adrien and Brandon included. Now, I don't see where he got that, considering this exchange between him and Adrien. Stacy explained this to us, why he was so mad at him. In hindsight, we're going to really look at this.
Okay.
Adrien says, I pray they find Michael Vaughn. I was set up by this guy, and also they tried to kill me by carbon monoxide poisoning. I'm a God-fearing, loving person. I pray they find him. I doubt you're really that God-fearing, Adrien, or you would have spilled everything. This they're trying to set me up doesn't work. But we do know that he confronted Stacy, asking him very, very specific questions about that boy who would be Michael Vaughn. Okay, right here, he said, Dear God, so they can find the little boy alive, and if not, so that they can get justice. It's so sad that people really hurt children. Evil world. As we know, he confronted Stacy. It sounds to me like Adrien might have been sent on an errand, and they made him Satan's secretary. They held a lot over their roommates' heads. To this day, Stacy still talks about how much money Brandon owed them. Well, you're not going to get that money now. But this is one thing that was said. Adrien, he said, did y'all really kill that baby boy, or did you all just like relocate him somewhere? Y'all so effed for harming kids. So someone thinking they're intelligent says, well, then how'd the boy die? Answer that. I don't know why you even think I had anything to do with taking him. Well, he can only be talking to Stacy or Sarah. Adrien replies, let's not forget about Brandon. Let's not forget about Brandon. And I want you to pay attention. Y'all so effed for harming kids, plural. We spoke about this morning. The first time you get caught is not the first time you did it.
Right. Exactly. Especially not with this kind of crime, because it can go under the radar for years and years and years and years. And just because you don't have previous, just because you've never been convicted of it before, just because you've never even been arrested for it before, doesn't mean you've never done it before.
Or tried.
Or tried.
And very funny about Stacy being at the splash pad and Stacy putting power steering fluid in at Southwest in Arizona, because when asked about it during his interrogation, which he claims was unlawful, well, then why did his high-powered attorney that calls him during lives allow it to happen?
Yeah.
Make that make sense.
Yeah,
He didn't seem to remember any of this until he was showed stills of the CCTV. Is this you? He's a pretty excuse me. He's a pretty recognizable critter.
Yep.
Then suddenly he remembered.
Yeah.
Now, again, this is according to him.
Funny. Having been interrogated for 4 days, that almost brought him to tears. Almost. That's how he got out of this interrogation. In front of his attorney, turns round and says that Michael's in that yard to get out of an interrogation that almost brought him to tears over 4 days. That was the best he had in front of his attorney, this shit hot attorney.
Well, the attorney represented him for the federal pew pew charges.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing to say that he's going to be assigned to handle this. And he's certainly not just going to do it for free. He's like pro bono. No, that's called a public defender, you idiot.
Yeah.
And hell, he didn't even make a very good deal for Jabba the Hutt when he got the federal pew pew charges. He served his sentence. He wasn't doing any wheeling and dealing on that.
Yeah, I can't imagine having an attorney that would allow me to sit through 4 days of intensive interrogation and then say, and allow me to say, oh yeah, monkey's in that yard, buried in my backyard. Yeah, then what kind of attorney is going to sit there and allow you to go through? Nah, that's bullshit, in my opinion.
Someone's been watching too many movies on Tubi.
Yeah, CSI Miami or something.
Yeah, illegal interrogation, 3 days. And then he said to me, I have it in the text message. He called me a retard and said, no, it was 3 separate times. Okay, there's a big difference between 3 separate times and 3 straight days.
Right. 3 straight days to the point where you're almost in tears.
Yeah, almost.
That word almost just, oh, it killed me. Actually killed me. I was absolutely enraged by that, just that one word, almost.
Almost. Adrien says, turn yourself in, bro, before your people take shit in their own hands. Because once you get knocked, you telling they gonna slam your dumb ass for all this shit. Stupid, effing lame. You might want to just take the L and call Miss Renee. Because if you tell, you know who coming to get you. Now, I don't know who Renee is. The L is a deal. I do know Renee. She was a booster mom for student athletes at CSI. I never really liked her because I knew that she was involved sexually with some of the guys on the team. I don't know if she was with them or not. I don't know anything. That's a totally separate case. Okay, never mind. So the question is, why would Adrien, since he is obviously suspecting Stacy and he obviously is saying that they're trying to set him up, why doesn't he make a deal?
Yeah, good question.
All right, so Stacy said that they were in Boise. Sarah, Brandon, and Adrien. This picture was taken at 4:47 p.m. by Brandon, according to Brandon. He took the picture. That's what Brandon said. We obviously know here is a picture from July 27th at 4:47 p.m. Adrien got dropped off. He was not at the house that night. A lot of confusion as to where it was. Our girl's spirit seeker did some research. Let's look at this. And explained, no, it's not Boise. It is Nampa, as Brandon originally said. So why is Stacy trying to confuse what town they were in by saying it was Boise? And then he said...
Well, and also, how would Stacy know? Because he wasn't there.
Yeah.
How would he know what town they were in? They could have told him they were in one town and then they were actually in another town. Like, Stacy wouldn't know because he wasn't there.
Yeah, he wasn't there. He goes, but their stories never add up. Oh, and yours do?
Right.
And yours do?
Hey, welcome back to my channel. I want to make a quick video for you right now. I am listening to this live stream that Brooks and Truck just did this morning on Crime Lines and Lies channel. It's a mouthful. I know my
Should have rethought that name. It was for a Facebook group and it stuck. Because, I mean, it's a mouthful.
channel name
It's a
is.
great name.
That's okay. Brooks just said this. Okay, bear with me because I'm recording from my phone, but I'm watching on my laptop. So here we go.
Dark, like he's describing. Well, now we know. Because the descent from Highway 16 into Fruitland, I think he said they had to take Highway 52 after Highway 16. As you can see from the timestamp, is 9:56 p.m. So I think we settled that. So what we know, timestamp-wise, we have two timestamps so far. We have Adrien outside of the Applebee's. We don't know if it's Nampa or Boise. Brandon says Nampa. Stacy says Boise, but it could.
Okay, right there. That part. We don't know if it was Napa or Boise. Okay, so I put this picture over here and I pulled up the maps. Now, this you can see, this is the Applebee's right here in Nampa. I went back to August of 2019 because that was my only option. It was either 2019 or October of 2023. So I tried to go before July of 2021. So here is the Applebee's. And we are going to go over this way. And I'll show you why. We look at this building right here, and we see these overhangs on the side of the building. Then we also see a bush right here. Now, if we look at the picture, we see the overhangs and a bush. Same exact spot, correct? Okay, and then if we spin around here and try to look across the street to what is behind Adrien in this picture, we need to... Okay, now we got it. I had it on the wrong date again. Okay, so right here's the overhang. Right here is the bush where it looks like Brandon was standing. Right here's the bush. Right here's the window with the overhang. Now behind Brandon, we can see this white sign with blue lettering and this metal roof. At first, I thought that looked like a Taco Bell roof. Most of our Taco Bells in Indiana have that same metal roof. And then there's a tree right here to the left of his head. Okay, so if we go back over here to the maps, and we want whatever is directly across the street from this spot. So we're going to rotate around here, and then we're going to zoom in. We see the metal Taco Bell looking roof, the white sign with the blue lettering, and a tree. So right here, it looks like this would be what is directly behind Adrien in this picture. So that narrows it down. He's not in Boise. He is in Nampa, Idaho on July 27th, 2021 at 4:47 p.m. So hopefully that helps, trying to figure out this exact location as much as possible so we can narrow down the exact locations of these four fools on July 27th, 2021 to get justice for Michael Joseph Vaughn.
Great job she did. Thank you, Spirit.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that. That's a great video.
If one of the moderators could put her channel in there, if anybody wants to go back and review it again, Hello November Rain, that would be much appreciated. Britt said he was honest when he said, I'm just trying to clear my name on here. Yeah, by making the water muddy and trying to change reality.
Yeah, I think he, sorry, but I think he did the complete opposite, like, of clearing his name. Like, it couldn't have gone worse for him, and I got all day for it. Keep talking. That's what I'm going to say.
No, you're protected under the First Amendment. Keep talking.
Yeah.
You don't have to talk on this channel. Talk wherever you want. Keep it up. And you didn't muddy the water. I think it's a crystal clear, considering all agencies that are involved.
Yeah.
FBI, the FBI card team, ISP, Idaho Search and Rescue, Fruitland, the Cold Case Foundation. So there's 6 right there that I named. Other agencies stepped in. Other sheriffs, their deputies came out to search for Michael. So I mean, like I said, I just named 6. I think you helped them out. I mean, unless all 6 are people with 0 reading comprehension.
No, he'd just like to think they are.
Absolutely crazy. Well, since they're such God-fearing people, let's talk about this.
Okay.
The 7 deadly sins. We definitely have lust going on because they love their private parts. Okay?
And each other's, by the sounds of it.
Ooh, yeah. They all have that down. Gluttony. I think I saw him chewing on those donuts on Dolly's show and on my show. He's a big eater. Yeah.
Yeah, no shit. I think that kind of speaks for itself, doesn't it?
You ever want to buy Stacy lunch? You better get ready because it's at least $30 by the time he gets his Uber. He gets an entire family bag of chips and 2 foot-long Jimmy John sandwiches.
Yeah, 3 of them.
Yeah. He likes that stuff. Pride. Now, pride doesn't have to be pride in like your appearance or anything like that, because none of them seem to have that. But pride and envy in a way kind of go together. Because Stacy, I'm going to talk about Stacy. He has a really high, he has a huge high opinion of himself. He believes he is irresistible to the ladies. Morgan Romero is one. Morgan Romero is one. He thought she had the hots for him, along with many other people. He's like, I'm just a teddy bear. I'm just a teddy bear. He talks about great football player and University, I think, of Boise, the one with the blue field, wanted him to come play. He's a master chef. He is a master mechanic. I mean,
I think he'd make a great relationship counselor. What do you think?
I am bummed about that because it seems like with our falling out, I no longer have a marriage counselor from Stacy.
Brooks, damn. You lost out there.
Yeah. So we have pride, envy. I'm going to save greed to the end. Okay. Wrath.
Yeah.
Stacy is a very, very angry person.
Yeah, especially with people like Justin. I mean, seriously, where the fuck did that disgustingness come from? Like, just turned on him like animalistically. It was gross.
Oh, the things he said to Justin are just beyond violent. The things he said to me. And anyone in the human race that's okay with that has a problem.
Yeah.
Problem.
For real.
But I am waiting on my police report because he said he was going to file charges with Fruitland, of all places. For me harassing him.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready. I might even fly over and accompany you to that day in court because that would be interesting.
So wrath, because Stacy, like he was talking about Brandon one day. He said if he ever comes across him, he's going to chop him into 50 pieces. All right, sloth. Woo! I'm going to let you take this one, Kat.
Oh, is that kind of like slobbing around a shelter and chewing and spitting out your tobacco stuff all over the floor and generally just being a filthy piece of shit? Like, yeah, he's pretty sloth-like.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know about, you guys, but after I finish, breakfast, lunch, dinner, a snack, whatever, I have this thing in my house called a trash can.
Yeah.
And I throw my napkin away.
Yeah.
I have a thing called a sink, and I wash off my plate, and then I have
Yeah.
a thing called a dishwasher. I put it in there.
Mm-hmm. What you
Um,
mean? You don't just like scrape the food all over the floor and then just like leave it there and carry on with your rest of your fully packed day of sitting in front of a TV screen crying because you can't get a job because your IQ is only 62 and you overcame all of that in group homes. No, no. Okay.
yeah, we have a lot of yes, I saw it, Slim, and I just put the link in. Can you guys ask Mike to grab the link? So we have sloth. We can go on all day with sloth.
Yeah.
All right. Sloth, greed, gluttony. We can go on all day with that. Now let's
Mm-hmm.
talk about greed, because he
Mm-hmm.
has taken advantage of many, many, many people, all of them actually, not just Stacy. He has taken advantage of many people, and recently he has. He has lived with two different women. He did not divulge to them that he is a suspect in
Mm-hmm.
the abduction of Michael Vaughn. He was supposed to be minding the desk at a motel. So basically, labor for a free room.
Mm-hmm.
And that Indian woman, I heard her screaming at him that night. She was just nuts. I mean, and I don't mean nuts like there's something wrong with her. She was saying, you're fat, you're stinky, your room is a mess. She's like, you don't work for me. I mean, yeah, that. So we have a lot of greed, taking advantage of people. Back to sloth. Here we go. I'm going to get cooked for this, but here we are.
First things first, where's your shitter? I've got a turtle head poking in. I got a crap on deck that could choke a donkey. Oh.
He has no respect for anyone's time, because even though he thinks he's the hottest thing on YouTube, how many times was he late? Mike used to employ Sarah Wandra.
What?
Yep, he said he used to come and sit in her car while she was at work all day. He is the epitome of lazy. Mike, I would love for you to come up. So back to our 7 deadly sins. Greed, wrath, sloth, lust. I don't even want to talk about that. I feel like I'm going to get the herpes through the gluttony, pride, envy, but greed, the way he takes advantage of people. The other night on Dolly's channel, a nice woman named Kelly called in to tell everyone about when Stacy stayed with her for a few days. Now, when she kicked him out, he was flipping out. He needed a place to stay. There was an Uber driver that was basically trying to find somewhere to take him until he found the next place to flop.
Mm-hmm.
And it was bad. And the Uber driver was like, well, she didn't give him his deposit back. And I said, what deposit? He goes, well, he gave her $100. I go, well, he's been there for like 4 nights. That's $25 a day. That sounds like a good deal to me.
Yeah.
This is crazy. So this is when Kelly called in. There, Mike, there's the StreamYard link, hun. This is when Kelly called in and talked to Dolly.
Okay, look, there's 1,268 of you here with me now. So while we're waiting for this woman to call, take a second, hit the like button. Okay, it's that little button that looks like a thumb. You just click it. All right. Don't click it twice because you'll take your like back. You just click it once, one time. Whoop, whoop. Is it weird he said he's never been to 9th Street, yet he's a taxi driver? And
Oh, he's been all over that neighborhood.
Yeah,
All
of course
over. All over. And so was Brandon. He was a Domino's delivery driver. Peach State Mama said, no disrespect, but why on earth would you let someone move in your house not even knowing their last name or doing a background check? That's crazy. Well, I think she has definitely learned her lesson. The only thing that I can say about that is Stacy has, I will say, he has a way of talking to people.
Yeah.
So when he pulls all the, yes, Jesus loves me. Yes, Jesus loves me. I have a job. I start tomorrow and I'll clean the house. I'll take you to your medical appointments. I'll do this. I'll do that. I just think it seemed to kind of hit her at the right time. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Not smart, because I personally think Dolly doesn't think so, but I personally think Stacy is a dangerous person. I really do.
Right. I do too. And actually, I have heard this call, but I heard it earlier in the week. But at the end of the day, she did. It is what it is. She did it. She's learned a lesson, but it doesn't really make it right. Like how he treated her and how it went. Like, it's not her fault. Like it still happened. Can't blame her for it in that respect. It's crazy. I wouldn't personally do it, but it obviously does happen, and it has happened.
He's a dangerous person. He's a dangerous person. And this woman, she can't defend herself. So let's see what she says to Dolly. I don't think any of it's going to surprise us.
It's literally a street over. Yeah, but I don't think he said he did it by word of mouth, and it's only a street over. It's not technically a street over. He don't live on 8th Street. He lives on a neighborhood off of 8th Street. So he actually lives in the back of the neighborhood off of 8th Street. So
okay, I put the map up while Dolly's explaining it to his audience, and I'm going to take a page out of Dolly's book. Please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. Not on Dolly's channel, unless you're over there, on this one. I always forget about that. Okay, home police are searching. That's the red dot. Then you see the arrow, another red dot, Vaughn family home. Again, he does this taxi business.
Mm-hmm.
He does his taxi. He's been all around there. Brandon damn sure has, because he's the Domino's delivery guy. Not the night of the 27th. We know he wasn't that. But how do we know that Brandon, theoretically, didn't deliver a pizza pie over to the Vaughn home and happened to notice kids outside playing?
Right.
Go back to what Stacy said when he talked about seeing the child who suddenly went dark-headed and became 10 years old. It was almost like Trevor was outside playing.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, in the neighbor's yard. Well, how do you
Right.
know it's the neighbor's yard?
Right. Unless you know where the child's actual own yard is, how do you know that child is in a neighbour's yard?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Just like when he slipped and said when they came into the neighborhood the night, coming back from washing the clothes, the duffel bag you can't put a human in, and towing. And they asked an officer what was going on. The officer said a child has been abducted. But then he corrected himself and said, no, they just said there was a child missing. Really? Really? Big difference between a child wandering off and a true stranger abduction. I think we've learned that much.
Let's say there's a big section of houses, about 3 streets that go back, and it goes around in a big circle. And he lives in the very back of that circle. So it ain't like right across the street. But he should know the street. He there's no way he don't know that street. Because he knew the name of the street. Okay? He knew the name. And I'm sure he knows 8th and 9th run parallel with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going back to the video. So I'll stop when the phone rings because it just seems like maybe she's calling, maybe she ain't.
Would say something like that?
I'm appalled. I have no clue. She's literally like,
I'm appalled. I'm appalled. She's literally, he's always saying something literally. Like,
Yeah, I noticed that as well. I
Mhm.
think it's a really telling. It's almost like a tell, because the more you have to emphasize the word literally, the more likely it is that that didn't actually happen, but you're using the word literally to make it seem more, give it more importance than it actually had at the time, or actually what actually happened. I think literally is a really, really overused word, especially in circumstances where you're trying to get yourself out of trouble.
literally is,
Mhm.
Wist said literally is a word of liars.
Right.
He's appalled. He farted like 4 times on Justin's show. At one point, it sounded wet.
Oh, gross. It was gross enough, Brooks. Did you have to make it even more gross?
I took clips and sent them to ICU. Okay. Now, on Monday, Justin did a show. I guess Stacy didn't get his lunch money that day. And nobody's trying to pay his bills or anything. I don't know what the hell went on there. So Stacy sends Justin a message. I'm not going to put it on the screen because it is horrible.
Horrific.
He wanted to know, are you live? Are you live talking about me, basically?
Mhm.
And Justin said, right now, yes. Then he said, WTF, you flamboyant FAG. You said you would not say anything. You're a punk ass bitch. Such a piece of shit, you effing, a word that starts with a G, FAGGIT. And believe it or not, it gets worse than that.
It's disgusting.
And I can't apologize to Justin enough that he had to endure that.
Yeah, that's gross. And also completely uncalled for. I mean, in any circumstance. But I mean, it's just so fucking 1960s and outdated and gross, and yeah.
Mermaid said, then asking Josh for money.
Mm.
I confronted him about that. I said, now hang on. You were furious about Josh coming on Justin's show. And I mean, he was furious. I
Well,
go,
because Justin brought Josh on.
yeah, it's his
Oh,
show.
okay.
I said, oh, he was so mad at the lab. He was so mad at Josh. I mean,
Well, Josh asked some difficult questions of him. I mean, you know, that's a reason to get mad, isn't it?
Mhm.
Like, goes back to the wrath thing, doesn't it?
Well, and I said, but hang on. I said, you were so literally appalled by Josh's behavior towards you, his attitude towards you. I
Yeah.
said, why did you hit him up for money the next
Right.
day? He goes into some story and then he says he needs hygiene products. Well, then he gets mad at me. I said, well, why would it be Josh's responsibility for you to get your ass scrubbed?
Right.
Why? Something about an ingrown hair underneath one of his titties. I mean, it just goes on and on. These are not Josh's responsibilities.
Absolutely not. In fact, no one's responsibilities. But what Chloe Jade just said, that's the point, isn't it? If one person gives him $300 for anything, then of course that is his motive. That is his sole motive for coming on to, inverted commas, clear his name,
Mhm.
because he thought it was going to make him money. He thought it was going to make him this, you know, big I am kind of guy, which feeds back into the ego issues that he has, pride issues. And it backfired on him big time. Big time.
I'm so glad you tied that in because he really thinks the world owes him something with
Hell
everything
yeah.
he's taken from the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even have to be more explicit about that. with everything and everyone he has taken advantage of. I go back to the comment earlier today. You had no right to take Michael.
Yep.
If you thought that the child playing in the neighbor's yard needed help, then say, can I get you home? I'll make sure, that you're in your yard. That's not what happened. Or else we
No,
would be
not
sitting
what happened.
today.
Don Cuckoo.
Hold on, let me refresh the line. The line is not busy. There's nobody calling it. Hold on, but I'll refresh it. Sometimes it does some weird stuff, but I don't think the line's doing anything crazy. Okay, I just refreshed the phone lines. Oh, maybe she is calling. Dolly.
Hello, it's Kelly Miller. I kept dialing 6649.
Oh, you were dialing the wrong number.
The last two numbers were wrong. I had to keep going. I had to keep going back to the screen and look at your numbers and then jump back to the phone.
Okay. For clarification, and moderators, if anybody comes in and asks who this woman is talking, please let them know. For clarification, she met Milk Drinker on Craigslist. Okay?
Yeah.
She had a room for rent ad on Craigslist, to offset her costs and things like that. She picked him up. She brought him down because he's having, transportation issues, even though he owns a taxi business, according to him. And from there, things went haywire. All right. Let's
Oh
get back.
wait, it gets better before he even gets to her. Before she even goes to pick him up, it gets better than that.
Oh,
He
it's
said-
something else.
Yeah, go on. Play it, and we'll pick it up as it goes.
And she obviously doesn't understand YouTube because she gave her
That's
whole name.
Yeah.
Phone, and I wasn't doing it right.
Okay, so you were a friend of Stacy's. Is that correct?
I am not a friend of Stacy's. So last week I posted an ad on Craigslist advertising that I have a room for rent for $700 a month.
Uh-huh.
And you can even go look it up. It's on there under rooms and shared. Now I have unlisted my phone number from it. He answered the ad. He said all the right things. He had all the right answers. Very mellow, very calm, very nice guy,
He is a con artist.
Yep. But he's
That's
charming. That's the thing. His charm is part of his narcissism because he's so full of himself that he knows he can charm people. And you said it yourself, he's very flirty with the ladies. He thinks he's God's gift to women and all of this kind of stuff. Charm is part of his MO, if you like, in my opinion.
And the thing is, it doesn't take long to figure out that he is just a freaking con artist.
Right. It doesn't take long, but obviously this woman, she's renting a room in a house and he charms the pants off of her to start with, as he does with everyone to start with. And then his true colours come through, as it did on YouTube and as it will during this conversation. He doesn't start off in an aggressive, horrible manner. He draws people into his persona and his thing by charming them, really, or trying to, thinking he is charming them. But yes, he is a con man. That's how he goes about being able to con people, is by charming them first.
Absolutely. And before I get to the uncharming con man, remember, the devil is charming.
Absolutely.
The devil is charming. It is raining in here. Grab your umbrellas because our friend Angel P made it rain earlier, and now Kimberly is showering us with love. Thank you so much. You guys are just the best. Oh, here we go. Just saying said Ted Bundy, extremely
Yeah.
charming. That
For
was
real.
his MO. People really trusted him.
Yeah.
Because of just he had this charm. I don't see it with Stacy, but he does have a certain script to talk to people. So he gets in the house. I spoke to him that night. And it just gets better.
Uh-huh.
And he said he was going to find a ride over. So a few hours went by and he wasn't able to find a ride. And I said, well, you know what? If I can get some gas money.
Okay, that same day, he asked me for money to go see his friend. He didn't give me her name. And he wanted an Uber ride from the shelter in Boise down to Nampa. I said, dude, I don't have any money. I don't have any money. Not for a ride like that, no. So everything she says adds up.
Let me see if I can borrow some gas money and I'll come get you. He said, nope, I'm really good at begging for money. He says, if
There
you
you
give me
go.
15 minutes at a gas station, I can get you a fill up.
Boom.
Well,
He
That's
said,
exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep.
I'm really good at begging for money. You give me 10 minutes at a gas station and I'll get you a fill up. That is his MO in a nutshell, wrapped up in a basket right there. Now, okay, this woman, she didn't take it. She didn't want him to go beg for money and everything else. But that's exactly what he's been doing for the last 3 weeks on YouTube. Exactly what he's been doing.
oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. He's got a few free sandwiches out of it. But I mean, nothing that's going to put you into a new tax bracket.
Well, no, but I mean, that was his,
That's what he
in his
does.
mind, that was his motive, in my opinion.
He skates by. So
Yep.
he tells her, give me 15 minutes at the gas station and I'm going to get you a fill up.
well, I told him no, and I just used some of my utility money. And I went and picked him up at the shelter in Boise.
Okay.
I thought, you know, hey, I'm giving somebody a chance. He
How-
told me that he was a
did-
gun felon.
How did he tell you he was going to pay for rent?
He said that he had a job he was supposed to start the next day, and that he owns his own taxi service called Space Taxi or Space Cab or something.
Uh-huh.
And then he, after I got him back here to the house, he says, hey, since my vehicle is down right now, how would you like to make some money running my cab things? And I said, no, I'm not a taxi service. I don't use my vehicle for that.
Okay, so right there, he knows he hasn't paid her anything because she doesn't mention anything about an exchange of funds. So this $100 he told the Uber driver that he gave her and never got back. Again, like I said, well, that'd be $25 a day. That's a good deal.
Yeah.
But he immediately is greasing her. Okay, he immediately is saying, "Hey, can I use your truck?" Because he talked a lot about how nice her truck was. Can I use your truck for my taxi business? And she's like, no, no. That
Hell
means
no.
put him on her insurance.
Yeah.
Call her insurance and say, now my vehicle is no longer for just personal use. Now my vehicle is going to be used for business purposes, like
Yeah.
a taxi business.
Yeah.
That's totally different. So why would she have to absorb that?
Hell, she hasn't even known him for like a day, and he's already asking
Mhm.
for these privileges for living in her house, you know?
Mhm.
What kind of entitled prick is he? Like, seriously, come on.
For that, I own my truck. It's a beautiful, beautiful truck,
Uh-huh.
and absolutely not. And he said, you're not loaning it to me. You're just doing the fares for me.
Again, that's how a con man talks. Oh, no. This is not a favor for me. This is a favor for you. You're not loaning.
Yeah. Yeah, you do all the rides for me. Isn't this how Sarah advertised the taxi company in the first place? You use your own vehicle.
Mhm.
It's basically take home what you make, but we'll sort out the tax. Yeah, it's the same MO, isn't it?
Mhm.
A pair of them.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Let me find that. But I mean, this is how con men work. You
Mm-hmm.
know, oh no. You're not loaning me anything. You're gonna
No,
get some.
you're going to be working for me. You're just going to do the fares for me. The fuck?
Yeah, March 17th of 2021, Sarah Wandra, Faith Taxi LLC, if it's even really an LLC. I doubt
Yeah.
it. But anyway. Hi. Hey, this is Sarah Wandra, owner of Faith Taxi LLC in Fruitland, Idaho, etc. I don't understand the etc., but okay. We are going rapidly growing. So please, if you have a car and are in the Treasure Valley, even all the way to Boise, I'm going to be needing possible part-time drivers for now. Thought you were rapidly growing. You can't do full-time? Work on your own availability. Use your own car. Keep your own proceeds. 1099. As if Sarah is going to give people 1099s at the end of the year. Be your own boss in a sense. We work a bit differently around here than your typical taxi. But please no messages on this post about the job. If you want to inquire, you got to get a hold of Big Sarah directly.
Yeah.
Because we work a little bit differently around here.
Yeah, we work a little bit differently. We'll move into your home, and within 10 hours of living in your home, we're going to be asking you to use your vehicle to do our taxi rides for us. What the fuck? This guy's a joke, man.
Mhm. Or we work a little bit differently. You're going to move in here,
Yeah.
and the money you make from whatever, you're going to pay us. And don't forget, everyone that moves in here has to sleep with Big Sarah.
Yeah. Yeah. But we're not going to provide you a drawer for your clothes. You're going to have to leave your clothes on the side of the armchair.
Mhm.
Oh man, these people, I can't with them. I just can't.
Mm-mm.
They're such trash. It's unreal.
Mhm.
And that's not me.
Uh-huh.
But the next day, he said that he was going out job hunting and he had a young kid pick him up. And
I want to know who the young kid
Yeah,
was.
me too. Me too.
He told me that his buddy was coming to get him because they were going to be moving furniture for someone.
Yeah, it's full of shit.
turns out he was doing a news interview, I guess, for Channel 7, because after I found out who he was, I started Googling him like crazy.
Yeah.
Now, that was actually done a week before at the shelter. I don't think she knows what was going on that day. Not saying that I do, because he told me one of his buddies was going to pick him up to go do a moving job. The interview's already been done.
Yeah, the interview was done that night when he was talking to you from the shelter, isn't it? Because they were there.
Yeah, and then he was at the hospital, and people at KTVB got him an Uber and got him lunch and sat out on the bench. Okay, you're not helping. Sat out on the bench and did the interview. So she just doesn't know. That's all right.
You might have wanted to do that before you let people into your home.
Well, I asked him for his last name, and he says, we'll talk when you get here. Now, I have call record on my phone, and I have listened to that 24-minute conversation over and over and over. He never once told me his last name, but you are right. And so now, if you look at my ad on Craigslist here in Nampa, it states must pass a background check. I've been lied to and deceived in the past, and yeah, I've changed my ad completely.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so the next day comes, he goes off. He goes apparently to go do this interview. Keep going. Just let us know what happened. Share your story.
I guess I didn't know about the interview until after I threw him out and I started Googling him.
Mm-hmm.
And
threw him out is putting it kindly. Because Kelly was armed for bear. I tell you what, she was furious.
Woo. I mean, Like, I completely think that she's justified. And if anything, like, I know this woman's getting a lot of stick because she let him in without doing any background checks and everything else. But to stand up to someone like that is a big deal. And I just think fair play to her. Of course she was angry. Of course she was upset. But to actually stand up to him and say, get the fuck out of my house, I think fair play. That's got to be tough, especially if you don't know someone or what they're capable of. You've just found out they're living in your house. To actually throw them out is a massive deal, and I just wanted to applaud her for that because I think that's worth props, really, to be honest.
You're dealing with a dangerous person.
Right, right. But
I
can you imagine if you were a vulnerable woman that didn't have the capacity or ability to stand up to this guy, he'd still be living there. But because she stood up to him is why he's not living there, and that's why I wanted to give her props. Of course he's dangerous, she knows that now, but she could have just said, oh my god, he's dangerous, I don't know what to do, I'm completely freaking out, and allowed him to stay there. So fair play to her.
And I'm sure in hindsight, she's thinking, I should have called the police and had them remove him.
Oh, she's getting shit left, right, and centre from people, and I just don't think that she deserves it. It wasn't her. It wasn't. It was a mistake that she made, for sure. Do I recommend that anyone else does what she does? Hell no. But by the same score, because you stood up to him, you got him out of your house. Now, fair play. I think it's amazing that she actually had the ability to do that.
Well, and I mean, in hindsight, like I said, I'm sure she's like, dang, I should have called the police and then, done this. But isn't that the shits about the internet? The focus is these 4 suspects that are linked to the abduction of Michael Vaughn, but people want to do entire shows talking about Kelly's judgment. Damn it.
Precisely. I just think leave her alone. Like she done the right thing when she found out who he was. She could have been another one of these trashy people in these cases that just goes, well, I knew what he was like, but I'll just let him stay there.
Mhm.
Like, she stood up for herself and her property and her home and got him the fuck out of her home. That's what I think. She just deserves props for that, for not being another shitty person involved in these cases.
And like I said, she was giving him hell. Woo!
He deserves it. I'm sorry. I'm proud of her.
Me too. Me too. I have a dry cough.
I had to have surgery on Wednesday, but
Yep, that was on the 17th.
Yeah.
Because he called me when he was, and I think AV was on the phone too. I can't remember now. I have to look. And he was washing the truck and doing something else because I thought, what are you doing? Why aren't you just sitting there waiting on her to get done? But he was out tooling around. We're going to find out why.
Oh, yeah.
Taking advantage.
Tuesday, I was doing some running around before surgery. We went to the food bank. Wednesday, I had to have surgery.
But now he told me that he was going to the food bank on the 18th. He said he was going to walk down there to the food bank to get her food. They did it on the way.
And I said, hey, do you have a valid license? He says, yeah. I said, I need someone to drive me to my surgery and needs to take my service dog. I have an actual service dog through Northwestern Guide Dogs.
Uh-huh.
And I said, I need someone to sit with her, and if you need to, go back to the house and check on my other 2 boys because I put them in the kennel. He ended up taking me for my surgery, sat with me, listened to what the doctor had to say, and then he left with my service dog.
Mm-hmm.
While he was gone, I guess he went to the car wash, and he said the windshield wipers came off, and I don't know where he got the money.
Okay, again, I don't know where he got the money. He could have stolen. I don't know.
He could have, or he could have just sat outside the car wash begging for money for new windscreen wipers at this point. I wouldn't put anything past him right about now.
Exactly. But he washes the truck and see, he's buttering up. He's doing all the right things so he has a place to flop.
Yeah. It's basically con man grooming 101, isn't it?
Because the night I spoke with him and he had just moved in with her, which was short-lived, just like the next place, that was short-lived. Because that's when he went to Emmett, Idaho, and was living with a woman. And she was told who he is, and she told him, you have to get out. You have to get out because I have grandchildren. I don't want you around here.
Right.
Don't want you around here. But he was helping himself to everything. I mean, he was eating toasted ravioli with marinara, of course, slopping down a bunch of milk. He was about to eat her out of house and home night one. Because I even said, since she's nice enough to let you be there without a job, and he's like, well, I don't owe her anything until February 15th because she's all paid up on her rent. I go, well, that's her side of it, not yours.
Yeah.
I said,
what is this entitlement that he just thinks he can just walk into people's houses, drink their milk, take their children? Like, the hell is wrong with this guy? Oh.
He is a very, very entitled, narcissistic person.
Absolutely. So
bought windshield wipers, and then he also put gas in my truck at Fred Meyer. So it kind of irritated me that he was out driving around in my Ford Platinum.
Yeah, no shit.
Okay.
And the windshield wipers were only a week old, and I'd already been through the car wash twice. I don't see how they came off.
Huh. Okay.
But,
so you get your surgery done. Then what happens?
the nurse continues to call him, and it took him a good hour to get there. He kept saying he was on his way. That night, or that afternoon, after we got home and I got all comfortable on the couch and set everything up, my knitting and all this stuff for me to just sit here, he says, hey, my girlfriend, her appointment got canceled. Can her medical transport bring her here? I said, well, when is her appointment? How long is she going to be here? Oh, just overnight.
So he had a girlfriend that he wanted to come stay at your house?
Yes, her name is Marissa. She lives in Christmas Valley, Oregon.
Oh, okay.
She has 40 acres and 34 dogs or something. She even brought a small dog with her that looks exactly like a dog he had.
Okay. When he was live on Dolly's and he was laying in the bed, because he told me that he wasn't really paying attention because, well, he was getting services done to him downstairs, if you know what I mean. Nothing like getting oral while you're talking to Dolly. Anyway, and I kept thinking, you just moved in with this woman and this is going on. And he kept having the dog right there. And I thought that dog looked like Oakley, because that's not the service dog that's not the service dog that Kelly has.
Yeah.
But he didn't mention this Marissa being there. Because he kept saying, oh, my puppy. He was like talking in that baby voice.
Yeah.
So nasty. Because old girl that was in the room with him is when he said, get me that bottle. And he started spitting again.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember he said that. Blech.
Or something.
Why don't he stay with her?
I would assume it's because it's in Oregon and he's on parole here.
Oh.
Wouldn't that be right? I don't know where he's on.
I mean, I don't know. Okay. I don't know the situation like that.
Yeah.
So,
but so I went outside and I was talking to my neighbor Kelly next door, and she goes, hey, he looks really familiar. Because I guess he had spoken to my landlady outside when he was, or not my landlady, my next door neighbor, when he was bringing some stuff in from the truck. He had said, hi, good weather we're having or whatever. But she called me up and she says, Kelly, I recognize him. I'm pretty sure that is such and such. Well, he said, I think he's one of the suspects in the Michael case. Well, I came inside and I was talking to his girlfriend. He had been in the bedroom for over an hour at this point with his puppy. And that's not like him. He is so rude. I'll be sitting in the living room, day of my surgery, having surgery, watching a movie, and he'll get a phone call and he'll just jump on speaker right there with the movie playing. So for him to keep leaving the room and talk for like hour and a half was very strange, because he is a very rude person when it comes to his phone.
That might have been his parole officer calling, which is why he had to go and be private about it. Because after the kick out, nope, that would be the second kick out, I think. He was calling people for money because he was due to be drug tested and he needed an Uber and money for the drug test. Okay, so maybe that's just what I'm assuming. Because he wouldn't want her to hear that.
He may have also
And
been
so
on.
Go ahead, Kat. Sorry.
He may have also been on YouTube lives at that point, because he didn't want her to know why he was who he was. So if he was on a YouTube live, for example, he would want to be in a room away from her, so she didn't know who he was or what he was talking about. Maybe.
Yes. That makes a lot more sense.
After I said, hey, what is he doing in the bedroom? I can hear him. And, oh, he's talking about the case. I said, what case? She said, the case, Michael Vaughn. I said, what? I said, the only, or no, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm going to correct myself. I said, what case? He's already been convicted. He's on parole. She said, no, the Michael Vaughn case. And the name flipped right there, because I was one of the bikers that went out there the next day and was searching, walking through fields with with 100 other bikers. But I don't have TV here at home. I have Netflix and I have DVDs. So I don't have
when
the
he was
news
he had no clue until that point this man was one of the suspects in the disappearance of Michael Monkey Bond. Okay.
So while I'm standing here in the kitchen and Marissa is showing me the videos of his interview in the bedroom on live, I said, son of a bitch, really loud. And he goes, well, I got to go. And I watched him. I said, I got to go, because my dogs were in here barking. And he came out and I said, is this you? He goes, yeah. I said, why didn't you tell me who you were? Well, you should have known. How the heck am I?
Well, you should have known.
Mm.
Well, you should have known, is what he said. Now, she updated her Facebook in November of 2022 about Michael. That doesn't mean in a year she's going to remember. She's not keeping up with, the case, like we do. So he says,
no, he went out searching. He went out with the bikers searching for Michael, but she didn't have any, she doesn't really watch the news or anything like that. So she didn't know that he was one of the suspects. She knew back at the time that Michael was missing because she helped search for him, but she didn't keep up with it to the point where she knew who the suspects were or anything like that.
No, like she said, he knows I don't have a TV. This is exactly what a narcissist does.
Yeah.
They screw up, but it's your fault.
Right. Gaslighting. Right.
Yeah. I mean, they have done the wrongdoing, in this case, Stacy, and then they turn it back on you. Well, you should have known.
Right. Exactly.
Let's look at this little clip real quick about narcissism.
Drive a narcissistic person in a relationship are power, control, and domination. And the narcissistic person uses the relationship as a source of validation. If those needs are not being met or cannot be achieved, that is a contributor to the volatility of these relationships.
The volatility, when they have been found out, called out, the volatility, that's where we go into Stacy's wrath.
Yep. It goes right back to that.
His
pride, wrath.
He had been here a week. He knows I don't have TV.
So
nothing.
That's how long he stayed, which is a full week.
5 days. He stayed 5 days or 5. It would have been 6 if he would have stayed all of Friday. But Friday morning we all woke up. I stayed up the entire night. I have cameras here in the house because I watch my dogs.
Okay, so on that Friday, I was doing a live. Stacy was very adamant with me not to have Adrien or Brandon on. Only talk to him. Okay, well, I pinky promised. Yeah, I'm not going to talk to them. They have nothing to say. You're running. You're running this show, Captain Titanic.
Yeah.
You're steering this. So I called him during the show because there was a lot of questions, and he's always said, "I'm an open book. I'll answer anything."
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
when he answered, he started this. Oh, I'm packing. I'm being thrown out. I'm being thrown out.
Yeah.
So everything she says adds up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't talk about this right now, Brooks. I've got a lot going on. I'm just packing my stuff up. I've got to get out of here. You said, why have you got to get out of there? Why have you got to move out? You said, you know why. I can't talk about this right now, Brooks. And he hung up.
Yeah, and then I called him after the show, and he was furious because I'm trying to figure out what the hell's going on. He just got there earlier that week. But another creator had called him or texted him and said, she illegally put you on the show. And so he was giving me hell for that. I'm like, now hold on. You told me you're an open book.
Right.
And that you.
Furthermore, about 700, 800 other people heard you say it. You numpty.
Yeah. Tell you what. There's a couple people that are making Daisy on Crazy Critters on the Farm look real damn good lately. I mean, she's a shiny new penny all of a sudden.
So they're in the living room, the kitchen, my bedroom, and over by the kennel. So I stayed up the entire night watching my cameras. I couldn't kick this girl out that's going through chemo in the middle of the night. And he sent me a text. He goes, I should pack my shit, huh? And I yelled from the bedroom, you're goddamn right.
Woo! Captain Obvious. I should pack right?
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Get the fuck out of my house.
You're damn right you're going to get out of here. I mean, because when I asked him, I said, now, whoa, how'd this go down? And he said, because she said obviously, because he's a suspect, regardless of what other people say, he is a suspect. Brandy and Tyler are not named suspects. Tyler's father is not a named suspect. These four are. Where Adrien fits in, I don't know. That will come out later. I have no doubt. So besides the obvious, she's telling him there's a lot of kids in this neighborhood.
Yep.
I'm not going to have my landlady come to me and say, whoa, 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 whoa. You have a suspect in the abduction of Michael Vaughn living here?
Right.
Neighbors are going to be calling the police saying, I can't let my children play outside because Stacy Wandra is living at Kelly's house.
Yep.
And it was getting ready to avalanche.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I don't think you should have a place in society, like literally anywhere in society, but especially not around kids, anywhere near kids. I wouldn't even let him near my house plants, let alone a child.
I do worry about the little girl, the tattoo artist's child that would stay with him so much. I'm really concerned about her.
Oh, me too. That was one of the biggest red flags early on when you started talking to him, or when he started talking to you, rather. Was that whole story about the tattooist artist's daughter.
Mm-hmm.
That was a huge red flag. There were so many things he said during that part of that show that I was like, my hairs on my back and my neck was standing up. I was raging. I was like, oh, seriously, like this is bad. This is bad. I won't say all of the red flags I got off of that conversation, but yeah.
No, go ahead, let it out. And I have a comment on the screen. What was the motivation for these weirdos, you think? I'm going to let you guys answer that. I really think it goes back to Sarah wanting a child and nobody's getting her pregnant.
I think it was way deeper than that.
Okay. I know you do.
I mean, yeah. Personally, I think this is some real messed up CP stuff, SA, etc.
Kind of ties in with all their odd jobs.
Yes. Yes. Amy in Boston, I don't even want to use my imagination to answer that question. I have my personal thoughts on it, but I don't want to think it because it's just ugly, evil, nasty. Ugh. It's just what it fits with. It fits with that whole why are there four of them, and may possibly more people involved, different locations, excuses for why they were traveling to those locations that don't really hold any weight or water. You know, Brooks knows what I think, but I don't want to. It's just too upsetting to say, really.
To say out loud, you're right.
Yeah.
And I mean, and also there's two other people that I wouldn't be surprised if they don't get some sort of charges at some point.
Mm-hmm.
One is Sarah's mother, Kay. The other is Brandon's mother, Tina.
Mm-hmm.
I just, from what I am seeing and our discussions, they have not been forthcoming with the authorities. And
No.
those two grown women protecting their deviant children,
Mm-hmm.
they have a price to pay, because
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of people that have some really bad karma coming to them. And I don't mean just what the justice system is going to do.
Right. And like we said earlier, just because you've never been caught for doing something don't mean you have never done it. Just means you've never been caught. It means you've never been prosecuted. That don't mean you never did it before.
Sorry,
Think
pardon
about
me.
how
Am I
those.
allowed to swear on here?
Yeah, we'll try not to, but yeah, you
That's what you then.
When does Dolly say we try not to? Come on,
We
Dolly.
try not to swear.
Well, and that's true. We try not to. It's like I was telling you the other day. I think I told Brandy yesterday. I said, I'm really trying hard to be a good person, but for some reason, Jesus is just not letting me.
Well, you know, I don't know whether I said Jesus was human too. Ultimately, he understands that we're human.
Kim French, how did he get into her house? I'm lost. Was he working for her? Are you talking about when they got to the house in Cuna and Brandon used the keypad to go through the garage because Sarah didn't want to be spotted on the camera? Or are you talking about Stacy living with Kelly? He rented a room from Craigslist.
It's interesting as well, because one part that Kelly said was that he told her that he had a job interview the next day, and that's why she let him stay there, because he was supposed to be getting a job the next day. Isn't it the first interview that he ever did on your show? He said he was going to do a piss test because it was his probation, and then he was going to a job interview. Like, how many job interviews has he actually been for? Because he still don't have a job. But every time
Well, he sent me a picture from a waiting room saying that he was at a job interview and that they really, really want him. And it's going to be a desk job and they're going to get him an ergonomic chair because of his back. I mean, he just went on and on and on about it. And I was like, oh, okay. And never heard anything about that.
yeah. Like, literally, I personally, I just think he's unemployable, partly because, not because of his IQ being 62 in his opinion, but mostly because he's just gross. And when people do any kind of like research or in-depth investigating into him, they realize that he's a suspect in a missing child's case. That's despite the fact that he's actually a felon on probation and all of the rest of it. Like, who the fuck would employ him?
Yeah, who would?
He stinks as well. Like, he's going to turn up to a job interview like stinking, like 5-day-old mildewed washing laundry, and then be like, oh yeah, I really want a desk job. They're like, get the hell out of my office. I can't stand to smell you. Like,
Yeah, 'cause I said, I go, what are you going to be doing? And he said something about clearing titles for the DOT. It's like some sort of brokerage business that works for the Department of Transportation. I'm like, oh, the government's going to give you a job, or this place that works for the government's going to give you a job?
oh yeah, because they employ con men all the time, don't they? You know, like if
Oh,
he thought that he could con you the same way as he's, you know, attempting to con this poor woman that ended up not being such a poor woman anyway, because she's strong as damn fuck. But I mean, he literally thinks he can pull the wool over anybody's eyes and make them think that he's this shit hot. Even Morgan Romero didn't want to sit that close to him on the bench, did she?
no, and she's sitting outside in the freezing cold, and she's
Yeah.
like, nah, not that close.
No, you can sit. I don't want to sit downwind of you. Can you sit the other side?
Yeah, she's like, I'm way down here. I can smell that ingrown hair from here. Josh better get you some hygiene products quick.
Right. Oh, gross.
Pinto said he's a legend in his own mind. Yes,
Yeah.
he definitely is.
Okay, I'm sorry. And it's just, and the next morning we all woke up. I got dressed. I got my service dog, her gear on. I had a quarter of a tank of gas. I started the truck. He loaded up all of his stuff in the back, and we drove in silence all the way. Or I heard him on the phone in the garage going, "I can't talk right now. I'm being thrown out."
That was me.
Yeah.
That was
you.
me. That's who I was.
Yeah.
That's yeah. That was me.
That conversation happened on your show, didn't it? It was actually while you were live, I think. You phoned him during your live, and he was just like, I can't talk to you about this right now, Brooks. I got to get out of this house. Yeah, I remember all of that.
Yeah, but then he gets a message from another creator saying that he was on the live, and I'm like, he knew I was going live. He said that he would come up and talk. I called him. It's not like he didn't know anything was going on that morning.
Right.
Get real. And anyone that's going to, give Stacy a heads up and say, oh, you shouldn't do this show or that show, and maybe you should say this instead of that, they're not here for Michael.
100% not.
No.
I mean, they can be further from Michael if they tried, because those same people are the same people that are still blaming Brandy and Tyler.
Mhm.
Like I said right back at the beginning of this case, those with eyes on Brandy and Tyler are not looking for Monkey, and are not looking at Monkey's case at all.
We all have opinions, okay? And that's just how our brains work. And in all of the cases that we talk about on this channel, your channel, Trev's channel, our opinions are based off of what law enforcement has put out. That's where
guess what? Our opinions are based off of evidence. Evidence.
But some people, there's a difference between their opinion based on evidence and their imagination.
Uh-huh.
We've seen it time and time again. And sometimes their imagination is damn dangerous.
Yeah.
The stuff that has been done to Brandy and Tyler needs to be prosecuted.
And cruel. And heartless. And just downright shameful. I'm sorry. Downright shameful.
And I said to Brandy a long time ago, I said it's easy for me to say, but I promise these people will go away. They will go away. Now we have a couple of stage 6 clingers that just they're the turds that won't flush. Okay.
Klingons.
Well, yeah, we have a couple of turds that just won't flush. And, it's just like, where do you want this family to put their energy? Their abducted child, or dealing with people that don't have reading comprehension?
Right. I completely agree. And I think, I think it was Josh said the other night, like, what should be the punishment for making a mistake and taking your eyes off your child for a minute? Like, these people seem to want to hang, draw, and quarter the parents. I mean, I just, heaven forbid that anything even you know, remotely happens to their child in the future, because, you know, they might not even, hopefully never have to go through what Brandy and Tyler have been through, but it's just like they have no empathy whatsoever and no capacity for even, well, they're just cruel people, to be
Well,
fair.
then, then charge me too. When my son was 6 years old, I had to take him to the hospital. He fell
Right,
off a tree right in front of me.
right. They seem to
Right
think that this is a
in
prosecutable offence, you
front of
know,
me.
that a father goes upstairs to change the diaper of a baby, and when the father comes back downstairs, the child is gone. They seem to think that that is a prosecutable, hang drawn and quartered offence, you know. That's not about wanting what's best for the child. That's about wanting what's best for your own drama, and it's just
There's just
horrible.
goofy people out there. I think about some things that Sean Hornbeck's mother said.
Yeah,
Even though the FBI was working, diligently on his abduction, there were people, after Sean's family saying, you had to have done this. You had to have done this. Well, we know now they didn't. Michael Devlin did it.
yeah.
Lorraine Bible that came on a few months ago talking about her daughter who
Hmm.
was horrifically killed. They still have not found her body or her friend's body. That's the case of Laura and Ashley.
Yeah,
And all of these years later, there's people who say, well, you shouldn't have let her go spend the night over there.
right.
What?
Yeah, exactly.
For people, it's not about the monsters that have caused hell on earth.
Right.
It's honestly what it is. It's a reflection of them.
Yeah. It's victim shaming. It's nothing better than that. Nothing. That is what it is. It's like, oh, well, you know, this awful thing happened to your child. That must be your fault. And the fact that, you know, you don't blame yourself is a problem. It's just gross.
And then of course I'm going to have some people in comments going, but what about what you say about Dawn and Kansas? I mean, you're always ragging on Dawn and Kansas all the time. They're still suspects in their daughter's disappearance.
Right. The word suspect. You know, we're talking about suspects in this crime. We're talking about Stacy and Sarah and Brandon. Specifically, we're talking about Stacy, but we're talking about the suspects. Don and Candace are suspects.
Mm-hmm.
You know who's not suspects? Brandy, Tyler, and Tyler's dad. Not suspects.
Okay, OJ, you're really not helping. You're not helping. I know you hear Aunt Cat on the phone. We will turn on the camera in a minute and you can see Cat, okay? But not
No.
right now. We have things to do, okay? Let's not be so rude. Okay? Just because I play, see, you're a narcissist, OJ.
Most cats are, to be fair.
And there is no comparison between the case of Summer Wells and the case of Michael Vaughn. Just like there's no comparison between the case of Michael and Harmony Montgomery. This case comparison, sometimes it might be relevant, it might be valid. Like, oh, well, remember when that suspect said this? I see that. But no, I think
Do you know what it is as well? It's another example of deflection, because instead of people saying, yes, I know that Brandy and Tyler aren't suspects, but what about what you say about Don and Candace? They go straight to, but what about what you say about Don and Candace? Like, it's just deflection. It's like, oh, we're not gonna agree with you, but what about this? But what aboutery, isn't it? It's we're not gonna.
It's keyboard warriors.
Keyboard warriors, exactly.
That's it. It's just sometimes, if you don't have anything factual to talk about, nothing like, a good old dumpster fire to get some attention. That's pretty much it. Speaking of attention, OJ just chewed the cord to my computer mouse.
OJ.
Mm-hmm.
Are you telling Mummy she needs to get a wireless mouse now?
Well, that's what I'm using, thank goodness. But the other one for backup that I actually prefer more is getting chewed to hell right now.
Oops.
All right, so back to what Stacy did to Kelly.
Yeah.
And I said, "You're damn right you are." And we drove in silence all the way to Boise, and I dropped him off at the St. Alphonsus W3 building where she had had some kind of a cancer therapy treatment. He unloaded the truck and the puppy right there, and I just drove off.
Okay. So I guess you learned your lesson from that one. You know, you got
Very much
you
so,
got to
yes.
you got to be. I'm not saying that Stacy's dangerous, but there's some things out there that, if it's true, he could be dangerous. You know, I ain't saying he is. He could be.
Well, I'm the popsicle lady of our cul-de-sac. You know, little kids come to the door. Can Maya and Ripley come out and play? My dogs. You know.
And everyone has the kids in the neighborhood, and they want to see the dog. There's actually some kids around here that want to play with OJ so bad they can't stand it. And I'm like, OJ's not really the playful type. And like,
Yeah.
and she'll give him a popsicle, let him pet the dogs. Okay, you're really doing it up today, OJ. But you know what I mean? And so she's saying,
Yeah.
look, I'm the popsicle lady of the neighborhood. I cannot have you here.
Right.
Forget it.
Yep.
We have children around here. You are a suspect.
Right.
In the disappearance of Michael Vaughn.
Yep.
You can't sit with Kelly.
Right. And thank you, Kelly, for standing up for the children in your neighborhood. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Just to get rides to the doctor and have the trash taken out, and perceiving that she's probably going to get some rent money, she could have been real hush-hush and been like, well, just don't tell the neighbors.
Yep. Exactly.
There's kids around here. But she was like, you damn right you're leaving.
Yep.
No,
Yeah,
these are my children.
You don't need that around there right now anyway. So at least until this is cleared up, he's either cleared or he's not cleared. Right now, he's a suspect. So before he needs to be around a bunch of kids, he at least needs to be cleared of what's going on and things.
But for him to lie to me about, hey, I'm going job hunting, and fail to tell me that he was actually going into Boise to do a news interview. If he thought that I knew already, why didn't he just say, hey, I've got to go do an interview? Oh, I'm going to go on the...
Because he's a con man. He's a con man. He's a liar.
Yep.
And like Molly said, until he is cleared of this and he's not a suspect, he doesn't need to be around any children. And that's for sure. Do you know who is allowed other children? Brandy and Tyler.
Yep.
There's dad. They can go anywhere. They can go to the zoo. They can go to school functions. They have their own children, even though some people tried to get their children taken from them.
Yep. And failed.
Mm-hmm. Brandy and Tyler can be around children. But we've had 2 people in the last couple of weeks that said, you can't be around here. There's children in the neighborhood. The next lady said, you can't be here. I have grandchildren. I didn't know who you were.
But I just think that's, compared to some of the stories that we've heard in other cases about the reprobates and idiots that are around in these cases, you know, for example, the friend in the Summer Wells case of Candace, you know, all of these people that allow these people around their children and actively invite these people to look after their children. I just think every single one of them that kicked Stacy out of their house deserves props. I mean, that's how it should be. That's, you know, what you would expect. But seriously, I've heard so many stories where you wish that person would have said, but they haven't, that these women are, fair play to him. I think the more people that know who Stacy Wander is and what he is accused of, the better, because hopefully that will mean he'll never have access to anybody's children in any part of the United States of America ever.
100. Tina said the biggest red flag, the child was buried in his yard. You can't come back now, Stacy, and say, well, I just made it back. I just made it
Yeah.
up because of this
Yeah.
unlawful interrogation with my attorney sitting there because, he let it go on. Nah. Mm-mm. Nah. No, asshole.
The bedroom and I'm going to talk, I've been trying to clear my name. He didn't tell me anything, nothing. I had no idea who he was.
Yeah.
And that sounds stupid because I live right here in Nampa, but I'm on disability. My disability check covers my rent and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have enough to buy a bag of dog food every month and a half a tank of gas. And that's it. So I get help with my utilities. I have a nurse that comes in and helps me. And I don't have money for cable or television.
Find you a female roommate. Okay. Dudes are weird. You don't want to live with a weird ass dude anyway.
Right. He just sounded, I'm going to be honest, he sounded so kind and so in need. And I fell for a bleeding heart story, and
yeah,
because I'm going to be honest, many, many, many years ago in my 20s, I did a lot of stuff wrong in Arizona where I lived. And I got in trouble, became a felon, but I got all my rights restored, judgment set aside, gun rights restored, everything. I went through all the channels and I legally became a citizen again.
Yeah.
And so I kind of had a soft spot for his story,
We see a lot of people in the recovery community, and they get really upset when I say something about like drug usage or something like that. And I get it. It's almost like a spiritual journey of theirs. And so when someone is in recovery, they reach out to him and they're like, I know what boat you're in. So for him to say, I got these federal gun charges, and she's like, yeah, you know what? That happened to me in my 20s. It wasn't a federal gun charge. And, I'm going to give you a break.
Yeah.
I'm going to help you. Because, she felt like he was being honest with her. Well, he told her, he lied by omission. He didn't tell her the whole story. Mermaid said, is that why he can't be in a shelter? He's actually in a shelter now. Part of the shelter rules are, after breakfast, which he keeps missing breakfast because he sleeps through it and then he gets upset he doesn't have breakfast. Then after breakfast, they're supposed to, on foot or however they want to do it, get on your bicycle, get an Uber, whatever. They're supposed to be actively looking for jobs throughout the day unless they have a medical note. Stacy conveniently goes to the ER every so many days to have a note saying that he's ill. Again, we're dealing with a con man.
Yeah. The same man that got ill from, what was it, elevation sickness or something on a journey to get a dog from Texas or some random ass story like that, He's been doing it a long time.
But he supposedly has an IQ of 62.
Yeah, right. He can sure read really well, and I'm not putting anyone down that can't read or is dyslexic or has any of those kind of issues, but he goes on about how his IQ is so low and how he's got all of these reasons why he would suddenly say that a child was buried in his yard if they found evidence the child was buried in that yard. But he can sure read really well, because when he was reading comments on your show, my God, he didn't make a single mistake. Not a single mistake. For someone that says he never really took part in education and he was in all these group homes, yada, yada, yada. He read every comment that was on your screen out loud perfectly. He did not skip a beat. That guy is not as stupid as he makes himself out to be.
No.
Not at all.
He also was polygraphed. He said he passed it and that Sarah and Brandon failed it. So he has that knowledge. He has a driver's license. So nah. I'm not saying he is the brightest light in the tanning bed.
But yeah, no, this stuff all about his disabilities and learning disabilities and all of this kind of stuff, in my opinion, is preparation for when shit goes down. He's going to say, well, you know, I didn't really know what I was doing because I have fetal alcohol syndrome and bipolar and Asperger's and autism and fetal, all of this stuff. He's trying to lay the groundwork for the future so that he can say, didn't know what I was doing, Gov. It weren't me. It was my illness.
Oh, try
Right?
asking him who diagnosed him with all these things. He can't remember.
No, of course he can't remember.
Nope.
He just made it up.
Yep.
Out of prison, I don't have anything. It's been 2 months. You know, I have nothing, and I'm stupid. I'm a schmuck.
Okay.
Am I? I have
Now
a
you
question.
wasn't having you wasn't having no type of relationship with this man, was you?
Oh God, no. Oh no.
Okay.
Number one, he's not my type.
Mhm.
Number two,
I'm so glad she said that.
Do you know how pissed he is hearing that? Because I told him,
I hope so.
I said, Kelly's talking to Dolly. He was at the hospital trying to get his notes so he didn't have to go out and get a job. And of course, he went through his I don't care. Then he goes, where? And so I sent it to him and I said, I'm not quite sure of the timestamp. You'll have to go through the whole thing. Oh, when she said he's not my type, that pissed him off.
But he just can't imagine that he wouldn't be anyone's type. I mean, in his mind, he's just like, you know, God's gift to women. How could he not be someone's type? It's like I said before. He's not upset about people calling him a possible pedo. He's upset that people are saying that he's overweight. That's what he's upset about. It's a whole ego thing with him. It's completely an egotistical thing. Someone criticizes your appearance, someone criticizes your weight. That's like a red rag to a bull, but call me a SO all day long, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, keep reminding me I'm a suspect. That's
Right.
water off a duck's back.
Yeah.
You call me fat and ugly,
Right.
you got a different problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Narcissist.
he would crush me. No, he rented the first bedroom that I have on the right. There's no bed in it.
Mhm.
So the first 2 nights he slept out here on the couch because it is a large sectional.
Mhm.
And when you take off the back cushions, it makes a pretty good single size wide couch. So he slept out here the first 2 days, and my dogs sleep in with me, and they bark and they growl. Every time he'd walk down the hallway to go to the bathroom, in the hallway bathroom, my dogs would go off. So nobody
You know
gets
what
in my room
I'd
without
say trust your dogs. Trust your dogs. Because they were trying to tell you something, lady.
Oh, those dogs were going nuts. You could hear them. They were just,
Those dogs knew exactly what that man was.
and now
in
she's
their
probably got
house.
to get a new couch because he has a lot
But
of
yeah.
flagellants, if you know what I mean.
Ugh.
Oh, yeah, those dogs were going nuts. And,
Mhm.
you know, he said that he was going to get with different creators to raise money to get him a car. And I said, oh, yeah, let me know. And I'll just follow their lead, knowing this will never happen.
Yeah.
You know, if that's what he wants to think, go ahead. He's like, you know, because then I can do my taxi runs. And, you know, there's a place, I can't remember what the name of it was now. I'm sure it's the same place where he had been buying cars for a long time. And he had found one for like $1,500 or something like that. But then he needed money, of course, for, you know, insurance, to fuel it up, you know, all of that good stuff. So I was like, yeah, you know, just let me know. And I'll share, you know, what the other creators put out. Danielle has a question. She said, my question is, could he have helped take Monkey to get his wife to stop cheating on him? That's a good one. Because he has not minced words when he talked about how mad he was. wrath, fury
Mm.
when she cheated on him and got the herpes. And he even described on this channel how mad he was because she asked for permission to be with Brandon for 2 days to get pregnant. And then he said it turned into a week. Then it turned into 2 weeks. And he could hear him. That's a really good question. But no, he wanted all of these people to raise money to get him a car to do his taxi business. And I think it was this place. Don't call them. I'm not doxing anyone, but that's where they used to get their cars. I have a feeling it's kind of a buy here, pay here, because there's Sarah and Stacy. They said, Kim's cars really helped us out when no one else would. Our credit score was in the low 500s. Imagine that. And they worked with us and got us. So I have a feeling that his credit's not any good with them anymore.
Yeah, no shit.
Without me knowing. But I did. I watched him out here on the cameras, and he just sat out here on his phone most of the night,
Oh,
you know, in the dark.
okay. All right. So I guess you got to learn the hard way sometimes that be careful who you let into your house. You definitely do background checks on people and things of that nature.
Yes.
Especially
But in the last 48 hours,
especially
I
if
have
you're
been
there by
told-
yourself,
Right. And the other thing is, Stacy told me that he was a gun felon, and I said to him, I said, well, I guess that means I'm not going to take you to the shooting range or hunting in Montana with me. He goes, we just can't tell my parole officer. And I record, every phone call is recorded, just like this one right now is being recorded.
Mm-hmm.
It's just because I'm 54 years old. I'm on a lot of medications. I have about 4 to 10 surgeries a year, and I record everything so that I can remember.
Okay, that might be a smart plan,
But yeah, a friend of mine told me about something called Furnish Finder for travel nurses. So I'm just trying to finish getting that bedroom furnished because there's no bed in it.
Mm-hmm.
He was actually trying to get somebody to buy him a new bed.
Well, I think
have them sent on Amazon.
if you rent it to a decent person, they're going to have a bed. Okay.
Yeah.
If you don't own a bed, I ain't renting you shit anyway. Okay. If you don't have, like you got to have your stuff somewhat together to be around me.
Well, are you looking to rent a room?
No. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm definitely not. I'm definitely not renting a room. I have my own place. I'm good where I'm at.
Good.
Why did she post a picture of Michael on her Facebook in November 2022? Who? This is something somebody asked. I don't know if they're talking about you, but it just says,
it could be because when I went out there and we were searching, a few months later, this blue round thing came on. It's a temporary. It's like a 30-day picture of Michael with a big round banner around it. You posted, and a whole bunch of us did. I know 90% of the bikers did.
Kelly, that just seems odd. I mean, you happen to go out there, search for Michael, and then you end up with the suspect living.
Yeah. And I yelled and screamed at him in this house. You could even ask him. I was pissed because we're bikers. We're all we're all from a military post, American Legion.
Uh-huh.
And when my club brothers called me up and said, hey, there's a little boy that came up missing yesterday, we're all going to go out and help look for him in Fruitland. I said, okay. And here I was thinking, cool, a good ride.
Mm-hmm.
And and then everybody started posting his little picture. But the thing is, I don't have television here. I don't have cable. I don't have local TV. I just have DVDs and a PlayStation with a PlayStation that I won through Taco Bell years ago, with Netflix on it.
Uh-huh.
So I haven't seen any of the news or anything. And honestly, I'm going to tell you, if the news doesn't affect me and my dogs, I don't bother with it.
How the hell did Kelly get a PlayStation from Taco Bell?
She won it in a competition, I think.
Oh, okay. I don't win shit.
Okay.
But
Me
I
either.
even yelled at him here in the house. I said, I helped search for this boy the day after. I said, what the heck is the matter with you? Why would you not tell me? Well, I figured you knew. No.
I mean, that just sounds so like, I know crazy things happen. That just sounds so odd that you was one of the people out there searching, and then you go to rent a room and one of the suspects is renting a room from you, or trying to, did he ever pay you anything?
Nothing. He did put $10 in gas in the truck, but I went ahead and I called the Fruitland Police Department and I let them know what happened. I emailed them the whole phone call of him calling me about the room, everything. I also gave them all the footage of here in my. I've offered them all the footage from here in my house. So I'm creeped out. I have guns in the house. That part I'm not worried about. But now I'm keeping my outside lights on. I have turned on my outside cameras now. And just the fact that 3 days ago I had, somebody that would lie to me like that. Well, not just lie, but deceive me like that. He said he had a job interview, and then he said he had some trucking job he was going to do, and he had an interview at Fran's and, Fran's bread company.
Yeah.
And none of it was true.
So he's just lying and lying, trying to make his way through, is what you're saying, and you just got caught up in it.
And I said, hey, you've been here 3-4 days. I said, how are you going to come up with your $700 rent? Oh, no worries. I can get that. Well, I'm not looking for someone who's going to lay on my couch and do absolutely nothing. And besides that, he left that room so trashed with potato chips all over the place, on the floor, spilt soda, spit bottles that were open, laying all over the floor sideways. It was gross.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that didn't sound like a good thing for you. So just be a little more careful.
But according to Stacy, he's extremely cleanly. He's a clean freak. He takes 3 showers a day. But everywhere he goes, people are like, he just left this huge mess.
And he stinks. Yeah.
He stinks. I mean, Brandon said it. The lady at the motel, the budget motel, said it. She's like, you're gross. Kelly said it. The last woman that he stayed with, she was like, oh, I've got grandkids. You can't be here. You can't be here. And she was furious at the mess he left.
Yeah, but all of those people must be wrong, right?
Everyone's lying. Everyone's lying except for Stacy.
Except for Stacy, yeah. Yep.
Well, I mean, there's truth in lies because, I wouldn't say that Stacy is the most trustworthy person, but he put a lot of things together for us.
Yep, he really did.
Well, that last place he stayed at, that woman was furious because he broke the toilet seat.
Oh, God.
And so every time she went to the bathroom, it would pinch her ass.
Ouch. Yeah, I wouldn't want to sit on a toilet seat that he sat down on. Anyway, you know what you might catch.
And anything he can find to spit in, he does. He's just nasty.
Oh, gross.
That's why that woman at the budget motel was furious with him. She's just like, I mean, he was spitting on the floor.
Ugh.
Taking out wads of chew and just throwing them in the toilet. I mean, come on.
Trash. All of them are trash. Where Dolly said to Kelly, find yourself a nice woman or find yourself a woman to share your house with. I was thinking, yeah, but please go on and say, if the woman's name is Sarah Wandra, do not allow her to move into your house.
Yeah. She would try it too if she was out of jail. I mean, they are scammers. They are con artists. I mean, these are people that allegedly, they are suspected, think it's okay to grab someone else's child.
Right. That's the main point, isn't it? That's the bottom line. Despite how stinky they are, how nasty they are, how far they can spit, all the rest of it, the facts of the matter are, at the bottom line is, They are low enough and evil enough to take somebody else's child. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. Who would even
And
think?
then allow the parents and the family to suffer for 2 years without giving them any kind of hope or, you know, anything. No. Nah, scum of the earth, mate. Scum of the earth. Hope they rot in hell, all of them.
And we're going on 2.5 years. Tomorrow, unless Michael is found today, is
Right.
2.5 years. How disgusting.
Yeah, all of them are too fucking cowardly to say anything. They're all just going to sit there and beg money on YouTube, and one's in a hot tub drinking, chatting to another creator. One's going up on panels left, right, and centre talking about his sorry ass life. He ain't got a car, he ain't got a home. Well, guess what? Brandy and Tyler don't have their child. What about that? What about that, you low life pieces of shit? Who gives a shit what you don't have? Who gives a shit that you don't have a bed to sleep in? Who gives a shit that you don't have a roof over your head or a meal in your stomach? Who gives a shit about that? What we give a shit about is the parents that don't have their child home and have not had their child home for 2.5 years because of you reprobates. Catch a clue, you stink ass bastards. Sorry, Brooks. I'm so fucking mad.
Only you could make it sound so pretty. Tracy said, why is he free anyways? Because he served his sentence for the federal gun charges. Lolo says, do you guys think Stacy knows where Michael is?
Yeah.
I don't. And we can all agree to disagree. I think that when him and Sarah went to jail and left at the house was Brandon Shirtliff and Randy Strickland. I think, I can't say anything about Randy. He's not a suspect, but I think Brandon moved Michael.
See, I think that possibly that is true, that Stacy did believe that monkey was in the yard, but I also feel like Stacy knows that monkey had been moved since then, so it was a pretty safe bet to say that monkey was in the yard because he figured that they wouldn't find him there, and therefore he could say, oh, but I lied because I was under pressure.
Yeah, my illegal interrogation with a lawyer.
Yeah. Yeah.
3 days in a row, but then it was 3 separate times. Really?
Yeah, that almost made him cry. Yeah.
It almost made him cry. Well, before we go, I got to give some props to our girl Kat because she made many amazing videos for Michael. She's got great video skills, unlike yours truly up here. And this will, you won't almost cry. You won't get choked up. It's going to hit you in the feels. So trigger Just video, Cat.
Sorry.
I know.
Just wish he could do more, you know. You just wish there was something else, but just keep his name and his face out there. That's all Brandy's ever asked for.
That is it. I've been trying to get them like a day out, but she can't ever make up her mind because, you know, just like nobody would, you know, blame them for moving out of the neighborhood, but they're just like, you know, what if I'm gone and
Yeah.
Mike comes home? You know,
Yeah.
what if we move to get away from these memories and he comes back to find us?
Right. I can't even imagine. I you know, I've said it a million times. I can't even begin to imagine what I just have so much like love and care for all of them. Like, yeah, I think that Brandy is just the strongest person I know, and she really shouldn't have ever had to have been this strong, but keep praying and you know, do what we can, don't we? For Monkey.
Well, I mean, what do they say? God only gives you what you can handle. Well, I mean, I think they've had enough.
Right.
You know, it's time that, you know, this family shouldn't have to go through anything else.
Absolutely. And that's what it would have taken, just one of those people, animals, to say it, to just say it, to just let them know, to just give them an answer, you know, but they're all too chicken shit.
Because they're more concerned about themselves.
Oh, absolutely.
They know the end is coming. They know.
Right.
They know there's a firing squad in Idaho. They know.
Yeah.
They know. I mean, maybe they should think about this. Just quit putting off the inevitable.
Right.
You know, because you've been confronted.
Yep.
All four of you have been confronted with parts, I'll say, of what law enforcement knows.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you, if you want to clear your name, it should be simple.
Right.
If you have nothing to do with Michael Vaughn's abduction, then your part in this is the simplest that there is. Just sitting there saying, I don't know. I have got nothing else to say. That's not going to help anything.
No, it's not helping anyone. That's the point. It's not helping them because they know that they're going to go down for this anyway. And it's definitely not helping Brandy and Tyler because it gets them no answers whatsoever as to where their little boy is. You know, it's not helping anybody. They can sit there and, oh, we went and got laundry. We went and got a car. We went and got water from Brandon's mum's house in the middle of the day, 40 minutes away. They can say all of this stuff. It's all bullshit. They're going to get called out on it. They're going to get prosecuted for it. Because as much as they might think they're good com people, they can charm people out money at gas stations and fill up a tank for $10 or whatever, that ain't going to get them out of going to jail for what they did to Monkey. What are you going to, the best that you've got is you're going to con people out of their commissary money while you're in jail. Great life. Just tell what you put Monkey through, what you did to Monkey. Just tell the family. That's about the biggest, boldest thing that you could do.
Well, I mean, and since they're all such, believe in the Bible, just only part.
Not my Bible.
Yeah.
Not the same Bible that I believe in.
I mean, repentance isn't, her prayer in the driveway.
Right.
Or telling YouTube from the hot tub, never, ever, ever, not even one time, except for people in the neighborhood. And they said, hey, there's a little boy missing. His name's Michael Vaughn. Do you guys know where he is? Or no. Or Stacy, I don't know. I'm telling everything I know. Oh, okay. Well, then why is he still a suspect?
Right. I'm telling everything I know, including the fact that I know that we left that neighbourhood between 6:30 and 7 o'clock that night, and we saw a child in a neighbour's yard playing by the toy with a toy. But that's all that I know. But that's what I know. I'm just telling what I know. You smart ass creep. Tell the truth.
You milk drinking, potato chip, skull dipping bastard.
Right. And also, repentance isn't going on TikTok going, oh, I've come to say sorry to Jesus for my sexual sins. Yeah.
Jesus doesn't watch TikTok. No.
Right.
He knows what's in your heart. And if it's, pure repentance and, you're doing the right thing, that's totally different. So, I mean, it's up to the four of them, honestly. I know a couple of them are watching right now, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you going to do? You going to let Jesus take the wheel and do the right thing and give this family peace? Or are you going to keep bumming money for sandwiches? Well, Kat, thank you so much for a wonderful show.
Thank you so much for having me on, Brooks. I appreciate it.
For Michael Vaughn, his family. I mean, hopefully we got the point across. For those in the back, Michael's parents and Mike and his grandfather are not suspects. We know who is.
Yeah.
And it should be very easy for the four of them to clear their name. Very easy.
Yeah.
All of the things they have been confronted with were not fabricated. They were not made up. Evidence in their backyard. Evidence from the very productive search from their home. These things were not made up.
Right. Evidence at Brandon's mum's house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 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 Those two things are not a coincidence. There's not a coincidence that they found evidence at Stacy and Sarah's house and at Brandon's mum's house. That is not a coincidence.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Anyway, thank you so much, Brooks. I really appreciate it. And I'm eternally grateful that you picked up on this case as well, because I knew that you would use your platform for the best possible way for Monkey. And yeah, thank you.
Well, I mean, some days things go well and some days I trip and fall, but we're all here for each other, correct?
Every time you fall down 7 times, get up 8. That's what they say, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I'll tell you what, I have fallen down and rolled and, shoot, man. I'm not one of those people that can fall into shit and come out smelling like a rose. I'm not as lucky as Pimple Titty Stacy.
Yeah, thanks for leaving me with that mental imagery. Oh.
Anytime, we have to leave on a high note. But speaking of high notes, I want to say thank you so much to you guys for being here. We have a lot of long-term members. Lisa, thank you for the super sticker. Chrissy, thank you for renewing your membership. Kimberly, Angel, thanks for making it rain. Kathy is a new member. Chris has been here for a long time. Yaya's a new member. Our friend Sassy, she's been here for 5 months. Love it. Love it. I think we are due for a members live ASAP.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me. And Mod Squad, let me tell you, I owe you guys. I don't know what I'm going to do to make it up to you guys, women and 2 guys. I know that the last few weeks have been really, really hard. Really hard. And I can't thank all of you enough. And, I say it every day and I mean it every day. You guys are the best chat and the best community on YouTube. So let's light the chat up in support of Michael Vaughn and his family. Me love you long time, Kat.
Me love you longer. I'll talk to you soon, hun.
All right. Have a
Bye,
great
everyone.
day, everyone. We're out.
Thank you.